Make sure you get the deal every time by using my 5 tips. Hello, my name's Mark Fitzgerald and it's great to have you joining me here today. These 5 tips that I'm going to share with you shortly will help you secure more property deals than you miss out on, and it'll make sure that you're not always competing on price. When it comes to property deals, everybody always wants the most money. That's not always the case. We have to build up rapport. We have to build up the know, like and trust, but we equally have to follow a set of guidelines to make sure that we get the results that we want. Let me just tell you, if you're interested in getting started in rent-to-rent, serviced accommodation, property investing, then head over to thepropertyunleashed.com now, as we have free training and tools and resources there for you to get started with straight away. I help all of my students and my one-to-one students with their negotiations when they're doing their property deals, and I'm going to help you with that right here. So at number 1, you've got to make sure that you start to build up rapport with whoever it is you're talking to. Now, that could be an investor, it could be a landlord, it could be a letting agent, or it could be, of course, an estate agent, or even just a family member. Remember, a lot of these tips will actually apply to everyday life as well. So you can practice these on your loved ones, on people that you know. You haven't necessarily got to just save these for when all of a sudden you're in front of somebody and it means the world to you because you're looking to get that property deal. But it's all about building up rapport. You'll have heard me say this all the time if you've listened to the podcast or you've watched any of my other videos. It's all about building up rapport. So what do I mean by that then? Well, we've got to go there and we've got to get them talking. So it is just asking open-ended questions. Do you know, how long have you had the property? Can you tell me the reason why you actually want to sell this property, or why you want me to come and do rent to rent on this property if you're looking at it like that? Obviously, by building up rapport and just asking, you know, easy little questions that they may already think that you know the answer to, but you don't, or maybe even if you do, it's good to ask them. You know, if you're looking around the property and you see, sometimes you'll see pictures or paintings of maybe places that you know. I've done it before because I used to live in Bath. So you walk around people's houses and sometimes you might see Pulteney Bridge or something like that. And you're just like, well, that's Bath, isn't it? Yes. Let them then tell you. Normally they'll tell you a bit of a story. Oh, I got that at such and such a place, or it's a beautiful city. Oh, yes. So why do you live here? Did you live there? Do you have relatives there? Start building up rapport with people and start showing an interest into them. Now, if you're in an office, that can be very, very difficult. But I have actually sat down in an office before and seen a picture of somebody's family and just said, oh, is that your family? Yes, that's my family. Oh, right. It's just been half term. Oh, it has been here in the UK. It's just been half term. We went and did a bit of camping and we went and saw a concert and things. What have you been up to? Oh, and they might start opening up and talking about it. Well, how old are your kids? How old, you know, are they at school? Are they at college? Have they left school? Are they grown up now? Anything like that to start to build up rapport. And of course you can do it with the properties as well by just having a bit of a laugh and a joke with the properties and things. But you need to get in there. You need to start building up a conversation. You may go on viewings where the agent potentially doesn't want to walk around the property with you, but you've got questions for them. So make sure you pull them to one side and say, I've got a few questions. Do you mind if I ask them to you? They're never going to say no because it's their job. And the same with a landlord. I've walked around properties before that are empty. The landlords begrudgingly open the door because obviously they felt like the agent should have been doing it on their behalf, and they've just said, well, go and help yourself and wander around. I normally say, oh, any chance you want to walk around with me as well, just so I can ask any questions as we're going? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. But if they do say that anyway and they want me to just wander around, I do say, is it all right once I've wandered around to ask you a few questions? You've already started to build up rapport and they're already thinking, oh, that's quite good. They actually want to talk to me rather than just wander around. You know, a lot of people I see doing this will wander around, will go back and say, I'll put an offer in, and that's it. They haven't found out anything. So get in there and start talking to people, okay? And make sure, which is number 2, top tip number 2, that you are actively listening to them, okay? What do I mean by actively listening? Well, it's very easy to ask a question you may even know the answer to, but to ask a question and then in your mind you're ready with the next question and then the next question and then the next question. You're not actively listening to what they're saying. Now, if your next question rolls beautifully into them answering the first question, hey, happy days. You know, don't overthink things. Keep it simple. I always say keep it stupid simple. But you need to also listen to what they are saying, actively listening. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a very, very good reason. And I have to say that I have had to work very hard on this myself because I do like to talk. I do like to ask questions and I do get excited. Okay, but I've had to rein it in to ask a question, listen to the answer, and not be thinking, I need to say this, I need to say this, I need to say this, but actively listening to what they are telling me. Whether it's an agent, whether it's a landlord, whether it's an investor, whether it's just a member of my family. It's all about actively listening to what they have to say so that I can have that conversation. Help me build up that rapport. I have seen on multiple viewings where they've had groups of us wandering around, people asking questions to the owner or the agent and not really listening to the answer, going straight in with another question. And you can see it on somebody's face. Straight away they're like, oh, you don't really care. You're not bothered, are you? You're just going through the motions. You don't want to be that person. You want to take the answer and you want to talk about the answer potentially. Now, you don't have to do this on everything. You could seem a bit strange if you did this on every answer, but actively listen to what they have to say. And if you can, have a little conversation about that before the next question. And this is why I say to my students, make sure you've got your questions that you have to ask. So whatever property deal you're looking at, let's just say we're looking at a rent-to-rent deal here. You want to know certain criterias, and this is why we give them all the check sheets so that they can walk into there armed with everything that they need. They have it all there. So you're not thinking, I need to ask this question. I hope I don't forget. I hope I don't forget. You've got everything in front of you there. So you can go off on a tangent, building up rapport, talking about something to pull them back in and say, oh, I've got another question. It's this one now. And then you go into that as well. Keep it all in front of you. Make sure it's in a system that works for you. It could be on a clipboard, it could be on a tablet, it could be on your phone, but make sure you've got these questions are definitely questions that I need to ask so that I can gauge whether or not this is going to be a deal that I want to take on. We do this on the Rent-to-Rent Business Builder and the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder. We give everybody scripts, tools, questions, things to say, things not to say, everything that they need. Again, that's on thepropertyunleashed.com. But make sure that if nothing else, you watch the videos and you know what questions you need to ask. And I've gone through that in other videos. I'll probably do another video on that shortly after this as well. But make sure you know what to ask and make sure that you're actively listening to everything that they say. And that leads us on to number 3, okay? Number 3, we want to be finding out what the problem is, okay? So we've built up rapport. We've asked good questions and we've actively listened to the answers. We should now know what the problem is, the underlying problem. So some people say to me, Mark, you're going in to buy a house. It's obvious what the problem is. They want to sell the house. Yes, they do. Or I'm going into a rent-to-rent deal. They don't want to manage the property anymore. Well, maybe they've got a management agent doing it. Okay, maybe the management agent's not doing a very good job. Yes, but I don't know that until I have asked these people the question. How can I help you? What's your biggest problem at the moment? What are you struggling with? Okay, because when you come to doing the negotiations, if you know what the pain point is and you know for a fact that you can solve that pain point, you can hit the nail straight on the head at the biggest thing that's hurting them, they'll be more inclined to do a deal with you. And they may be a bit more flexible on price as well. So you haven't got to be the highest bidder, but make sure that you know what the pain point is, the true pain point, not what you think the pain point is. See if you can get them to actively say it. So for me, when I was talking to landlords, a lot of the times in the areas I was operating, they were struggling a bit with their letting agents. The letting agents weren't quite delivering what they said they were going to deliver, and they were looking for more guarantee. They wanted to remove the hassle, to have a guarantee rent, to know what they would be getting each and every month. And that was what played into my favor, and that is how I knew how to position then my offer to show them exactly what they wanted. Okay, because when you put your offer in, you might have a lower number, okay, than what they actually want. If you can put that offer together though with a comparison, because your offer does need to be a good offer, and we do have a deal analyzing spreadsheet on the propertyunleashed.com, which is completely free. You can download it so you know you're stacking good deals. Head over and grab that after this video. There's links in the show notes as well in the description below to get all of those things. Don't go just yet. Let me carry on here because I've got some juicy bits for you. But you'll be able to stack a good deal. You'll be able to present it in a manner that says, your offer might seem low to you, but it's not actually. It's a good offer for these reasons. Plus, we remove all the hassle. Plus, you've got a guarantee for the next 5 years. We're going to look after your asset as if it's our own, and we've got to keep it to the highest standard because we need to make sure that we keep the properties either tenanted if you're doing HMOs or full with lots of bookings if you're doing serviced accommodation. So you have to find out what their pain point is, what their needs are, and I'll tell you what, you won't always be able to solve their problem. Okay, it's a fact. A lot of people, including myself, when I say a lot of people, used to get into a deal or get a viewing. Potentially if it's a rent-to-rent deal, I've got a viewing with a landlord, I've got to make it work. It's got to work no matter what. I can't say the wrong things. If I look an idiot when I first go there, forget all of that. You've got to go and look at the property first of all and see whether the property is going to be a deal. It's going to suit your criteria for your business and how you want to operate. That's first. Secondly, you've got to make sure either the agent or the owner, whoever you're going to work with, is on a level that you want to work with. You don't want to get locked into an agreement that could be a nightmare over the next 3 to 5 years. So you've got to make sure that you can work together and that you can get along. You don't have to be bosom buddies, but do not do a deal with a landlord or an agent that you've got is telling you already when you first met them, I think this is a bad idea. I'm not vibing with these people, because you will get a massive headache. You will do a poor job, or they will potentially interfere and you'll end up doing a poor job and it'll all go sour. Okay, so those are the first two things that are very, very important. After that, the numbers have to stack. You cannot fudge or play with the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. And you need to be stacking deals on a worst case scenario. If you're doing serviced accommodation, you've got to be looking at a 50% occupancy, still just breaking even or even making you a couple of quid, not losing money at 50% occupancy, okay? If you're doing HMOs, you want to be going for a minimum of £100 profit per room. So HMOs are where you let it out on a room by room basis, okay? So you need to be making sure that you're getting £100. So if you've got a 5-bed property, it's £100 per room, that's £500 profit. 6 beds, £600, and so on and so on. Your bills and utilities, you want to be putting in about £125 to £150 per room if you're doing HMOs, okay, to calculate your utilities. Service accommodation, it does depend on if you've got people staying, weeks on a time, months at a time and stuff like that, as to how much utilities are going to cost in those. If it is basically, about a 75% occupancy, then your bills and rates won't be as bad. And of course, there's boiler controls. You can put in a thermostat, you can put in a Hive, you can put in an Inspire so that you can remotely control what the heating's doing. Obviously, if you've got a serviced accommodation and there's nobody in it, you can turn it off completely just at the click of a button on your phone. So there's lots of different ways we can do that. I've gone off on tangent here, but we need to make sure that we find out what their pain point is, okay? So that when we put an offer together, we hit those 3 things. We make sure that we know that the property is a good deal, the landlord who we're going to be working with is good, and we also know that the numbers stack on that deal. And if we can incorporate that with their problem and their needs, you will get the deal, okay? So at number 4, what I'll tell you is, and not many people do this, is listen to what people are saying, write down notes when people are saying things, and then when you go away from them, look at it from their point of view. Don't overanalyze yourself. I'm not talking about looking at it from their point of view of talking to you and how you performed, although you can do a little review on that yourself. but we can't control how others think about us, so don't worry about that. But what I'm saying is, look at the situation. They're either looking for a rent-to-rent deal, they're looking to sell the property, potentially a purchase lease option. Maybe they're a motivated seller, depending if you're, if you're deal sourcing, and that you need to stack this deal to sell this on. Look at it though from their point of view. What do they need to get that win? And we're always, and that's the way we teach things here, looking for a win-win. We're never looking to take advantage of anybody or anybody's situation. We are always looking for a win-win. It's got to work for us, but it's got to be the end result that the person, the vendor, the landlord, or the agent needs. And if you can get those two together and see it from their point of view, structure that deal with their point of view in mind, as long as it doesn't compromise A, the property, B, the people you can work with, or C, the numbers, you can put together and craft such an amazing deal. And that is how my students go out there, nail it, and we seem to be getting deal after deal each week. They're coming on the podcast, they're coming on the YouTube channel. I'm interviewing the people that want to be interviewed. Not everybody wants to be interviewed, not everybody wants to be out there, and that's fine. But I do it to inspire people, because it used to inspire me when I started out and I watched these people doing what I wanted to do and build what I wanted to build. But now being a part of that and being able to help and support people is absolutely, truly amazing. So if you do want to get involved in that, you can. But of course, you've got to make sure that you know what the problem is, that you know how you can solve the problem, and then you can help them with them. And at number 5, just remember one thing, and I have to go through this a lot with different people. No does not mean no, it just means not now. Okay, so if you put an offer in, because some people, and even some of my students that I work with, I look at the offers that they're going to put in. There's no wiggle room. They're offering the top amount that they can offer, and that's it. Or they're even thinking, well, I can offer a bit more and maybe take a bit less profit because I want to get those deals. That's a mistake, okay? You've got to put your offer in, and you need, realistically, with your first offer, somebody to say no, okay? If you put your offer in, and what happens is they say yes straight away, what have you done? You've offered too much, okay? Now you might say, well, the number's stacked and I'm happy with that. That's great, but you could have still made it a little bit better, okay? But by knowing their pain point, finding out their needs, you may very well find that you don't have to go silly with your offer. That if your offer's there or thereabouts, they want to work with you because you took the time to get to know them. Now, another thing on that, you want to make sure that when you look at your offer, take about £100 off of that offer and then put the offer forward, okay? If your offer doesn't make you feel a bit nervous and a bit embarrassed, it's not a good offer, okay? You're offering too much, all right? Now, we're not want to mess people about. That's not what I'm saying here at all is, but go in a bit lower because then it gives you a chance to bring their expectations into reality. There's a lot of agents, a lot of landlords, a lot of people out there whose expectations of property prices, of rent-to-rent deals, of all sorts, is in gaga land. It's woohoo, it's up there with the fairies for what they think they can get. So first offer should be giving them a reality check, a little shot across the bows. Now, I see people saying, well, I've put the offer in, and then somebody else, and I've done it £100 less, and then somebody else has actually offered them like £500, £600 more, and I can't see how they're going to make any money. I'll tell you why. Because they don't know what they're doing, and they put in a ridiculous offer, and they've gone the old school way of thinking that they can uplift the property, they can uplift the rent, and it's all just going to cost them a lot of money and blow up in their face. And that is not what we show people how to do here on this channel, let alone in training. But we show people how to make sure that they put in a good offer. You know, you're going to get a good service, but it comes at a price. If you want us to look after your asset, to take care of minor maintenance issues, to pay you a guaranteed rent month on month, okay, it comes at a price. The price is this, but you know for a fact in 5 years' time when I give you back the property, if you want it back, it's in as good, if not better, condition than when I took it off your hands. And that is what we do. That's how we roll. That is worth its weight in gold. If you give it to an agent, you're going to have voids. You're also going to pay for maintenance. They're not going to be as on top of the maintenance as possible, so maintenance could actually cost you double the amount. And that's what we do because we have cleaners regularly in all of our properties. They're always reporting any issues. We have good communication with the tenants to make sure that if there are any problems, any issues, or anybody who's staying in the properties, that we can be proactively on it. So those are my 5 tips that you need to make sure that you are incorporating into your negotiations. And those are my 5 things. So it's building up rapport. It's actively listening to the people. It's finding out their needs, okay? It's looking at it from their perspective, and it's no doesn't mean no. It just means not now. Put your offers in with confidence. Go a little bit below what you actually want to offer so that you can move it up slightly to show them where their thinking really needs to be. They may not want to go that low, and you can bring it back up and they feel like they're getting a win every time. Make it a win-win for you and for them. Make it good business. We don't want to be paying deposits. We don't want to be paying for massive refurbs if we're looking at doing rent-to-rent deals. Okay, if it needs work doing, the landlords or the owner of the property should be willing to do so. And I can show you and share with you how you can get them to do this so that you do the best deals possible to get cash flow in, get you out of that 9-to-5 job, move yourself forward, get you out of the rat race. If you're interested in that, as I've said before, head over to thepropertyunleashed.com. We have free training masterclasses to get you started, free tools and resources, as well as ebooks. Thepropertyunleashed.com is where it is at. Or listen to the Property Unleashed podcast as well if you're watching this on the YouTube channel. If you're not, if you're listening to this on the podcast, then go head over to the Property Unleashed YouTube channel. And of course, make the most of everything. Reach out to me on social media, Facebook and Instagram. I am very active on, happy to answer any of your questions. And you make sure that you get yourself out there, you do the best deals you can possibly do, and you grow and build a successful property business. Bye for now.